Hi everyone, this is Katya from Pacifica with Love. If you have not subscribed to my channel yet, please do so, and please support me with a like if you like this video. Today I'm happy to greet you from Pacific Grove, California. We came here today because we have an off-site book club meeting. This meeting is devoted to the literary work of a very famous and prominent American writer, John Steinbeck, who received a Nobel Prize in Literature in 1962. And why this place is connected with Steinbeck, because Steinbeck lived in this area. He grew up in Salinas, California, and then he used those places as a subject of a lot of his novels, and one of them is Canary Row, located in Monterey, California. That's we're gonna visit Canary Row today, and my husband John is gonna give a guided tour of the Canary Row and tell us how it looked back in the Steinbeck's times in 1930s, 1940s, the years of Great Depression in the United States. We also yesterday visited Steinbeck's house. That's a house where he actually grew up, and we had a great lunch at a restaurant that uses Steinbeck's family's recipes. I'm gonna include a little bit footage in my video.
And my wife suggested I volunteer here. Now, I'm not stupid, I always do what my wife tells me, and here I am. And it's funny, I went from not knowing very much about John Steinbeck to actually loving the guy. I wish he were alive to have a beer with, some vodka, and just quite a guy. He's one of those authors, we get so many people from all over the world that just love John Steinbeck. And do you read it in Russian or do you read it in English? Both. Both. Yeah, that's what everybody tells me. You know, you read it in, because we get people from every country you could think of that are huge Steinbeck fans. So. But I'm glad you're here. You picked one of my favorite books. The way my personality, I hate sadness. I mean, Mice and Men, Grapes of Wrath are nice books, but I like happy books. And you pick the two of my favorites are Canary Row and Sweet Thursday. That's the next book. The interesting thing with Canary Row, John wrote that right at the end of World War II, is that it's a book of characters. And you meet Mac and the boys and Hazel and all these people. They seem like real nice guys. And what's their goal? To get $1 to go to Lee Chung's market to get some beer or wine, you know? What's interesting about this whole book and John Steinbeck and his writing, when John was a little boy, he grew up in this house. This house looks exactly the same except for the wallpaper. They didn't have ceiling fans in 1900. But the layout of the house is exactly the same as when John was living here. And when John was born, he was born in the front room, and then he moved into, the sisters were moved into this room. So back to when John was a little boy, they would sit out here with the family, the mother and the father, and they talk about the day and encourage to bring friends over. The mother had one strong rule for all the kids. No cell phones or texting were allowed in 1902.
And we also visited Steinbeck Center, that is a museum that's devoted to John Steinbeck's works. We're staying at a hotel called Butterfly Grove Inn. As you can see, it's a really beautiful territory. This is the building where we're staying on the second floor. The hotel is very, very nice and clean, and the reason we chose it initially is because we also heard that there were monarch butterflies that were coming here. We haven't seen them yet. Maybe it's not just the right time of the year. I think they're coming in February. I highly recommend this hotel. It has a gorgeous territory, and see all the calla lilies are now blooming. It's early April, and we see those beautiful flowers actually from the windows of our room. Isn't it wonderful? And they're especially beautiful in the sunset lights. We went for a walk yesterday and really enjoyed them. Really gorgeous. There is a really beautiful trail that starts right from the hotel. It's called Monarch Habitat Sanctuary, and as I mentioned, there are no butterflies right now, but I still recommend you to take a trail if you're staying at this hotel, because it's just gorgeous. There's so many flowers are blooming, and eucalyptus trees, they're very high and create a very needed shade if it's a warm sunny day, and it's just so peaceful and relaxing. And I really like this bench here that's made in the shape of a butterfly. More calla lilies here, as well as this beautiful tree that's called the bottle brush tree. As you see, they have this little red flowers that really resemble brushes for cleaning bottles. They're all over California, and they're just started blooming now. The birds are also chirping. I really like those flowers. They're blooming everywhere in Northern California. I forgot their name. If you remember the name, please write it in the comments to the video. I would appreciate that. Aren't they gorgeous? Our new friend in Pacific Grove. She loves these flowers. There's a deer here walking in residential areas. He's not afraid of anything. He's not shy. So we have just arrived to Canary Row, and as you see here, there's this a little poster on the pole saying Canary Row, Ed Ricketts. And Ed Ricketts, for those of you who have read Canary Row, he was a prototype of the main character there, the doctor, the biologist, the scientist. And now we have just parked and walking towards the coast, towards the harbor, and of course the Canary Row. And even on the poles here, also a quote from John Steinbeck, Canary Row. The whole street rumbles and groans and screams and rattles while the silver rivers of fish pour out of the boats. Unfortunately, all the sardines have been drained in 1930s. There's no more sardines or canaries here, but of course the historical buildings still stand.
This is our third offsite that we're doing for Book Club, and this is going to be about Cannery Row. We're starting our tour at the Pacific Biological Laboratories, and I picked this spot because this is the center of the universe for Cannery Row. This is the sun, right? This is where everything happened and everything revolved around this particular building. Why? Because this is Doc, or Ed Ricketts. He was Ed Ricketts in reality. But Doc, this is where he did all his marine biology, collected his specimens. He had a huge record collection and books. He was a bit of a Renaissance man. He read Goethe and Nietzsche, and Steinbeck and him would come here and spend hours discussing their ideas. Everybody in Cannery Row, who actually, each of those characters was based on a real person.
And look, they cook fish here. And
where he collected his.
over here, soups.
Yeah. I'm not sure what it looks like right now. See some of the sea otters out there.
Oh yeah, the sea otter.
They're very playful. They like
¿Se puede aquel lado?
And this bronze sculpture, obviously, is a dedication to the book Cannery Row, right? Because you can see a lot of the characters. Right? So I invite you to kind of guess who's who in this book. You want to take a guess? Yeah. Oh, you read? Okay, so Steinbeck. Yeah, that looks like Steinbeck to me.
Maybe it's making a voice.
I think that's Mac and the boys. Yeah, because they have the whining jug, right? Where they stored all their
Yeah. This is Ed Ricketts.
that's Doc and Rick. And that looks like Dora to me. And it could be from there. There was a sequel to Cannery Row called Sweet Thursday. I haven't read it, so I'm not familiar. But there was a girl protagonist in that book, and so I'm guessing maybe that's who that is. I'm not sure. And then of course there's the frogs, right? And some of the.
Are you enjoying the tour?
Oh yeah, it's beautiful. Beautiful weather, beautiful place, and a lot of history.
I know, right?
I love it.
Are you guys enjoying the tour?
Oh yeah.
Yeah? And the city.
Nice weather,
Nice weather, right?
I can stay here forever.
Forever. Yeah, me too.
And this area is so rich in marine life, not just here, but up and down the California. Closed in the late 1940s.
Because there was no fish.
They overfished it. So these canneries all up and down here process millions and millions of sardines, every day for the entire country, for much of the world. And remember, this is during World War II also, right? World War I, World War II. And so they were supplying a lot of the food for the troops and everything. So they really depleted and overfished everything that's out there. And there was just no more sardines, so they had to close them down. I'll read a quote again from the book. The canneries, because he just creates this vivid picture, right? The canneries rumble and rattle and stink and scream and cry out. A wave of smell rolls out of them. Smell of fish, of putties, of fish, guts, and scales. It gives you kind of a picture. The host, Katya, she usually leads the book club, but when she said we're going to do Steinbeck, I raised my hand and said, oh, okay, he's one of my favorite authors. I've read about a third of his books. He was pretty prolific. He wrote about 30 books throughout his career. I read about a third of them. Canary Row is definitely one of the books I love. How many of you read the book? And be honest, it's okay. If you didn't read it, that's okay. Okay. How many of you read part of the book but didn't finish it? Okay, that's fine too, because the interesting thing about Cannery Row is it's a collection of little vignettes and little stories, right? And even if you read just a few of them, you start to get kind of the flavor of Cannery Row. But I want to tell you why I like Steinbeck so much. And I'm going to start off with a little bit about Steinbeck and who he was, as an author and a writer, and then we'll get into the group discussion. But feel free to ask questions along the way. I probably don't know the answer to most of them, but I'll try. So first off, I love Steinbeck because he's a great storyteller, okay, for one thing. And he uses simple language to create some really beautiful prose and really beautiful poetry that's accessible to almost anyone. I think I read my first book by Steinbeck was probably The Pearl when I was in high school. He also shares a lot about his philosophy and his beliefs. So even though I'm starting off talking about who John Steinbeck was and a little bit about his history, the best way to understand Steinbeck is to read his books, because his books draw upon his experience, how he grew up, his beliefs, his philosophy. And that's the best way to know Steinbeck. He didn't graduate, but I'm sure he learned a lot and had some great mentors. He published his first novel, is called Cup of Gold, about the pirate Captain Morgan. Captain Morgan was, kind of quite a a character in his own right, causing mayhem throughout the Caribbean. But it didn't see much success. He finally broke through with success with his Tortilla Flat. And Tortilla Flat had some similarities with Cannery Row. It's a fun book. It's a fun read. It's not too serious. The myth was there was lots of jobs, great jobs available working on the farms in California. But what the Grapes of Wrath documents is when they get here, that's not necessarily the case. And there was hundreds of thousands of people.
And he said it's better version on
Oh.
YouTube. You can check it. It's like
It's like
10, 10 parts.
series, PBS.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. That's better.
More by the
Okay.
book
Okay.
than-
Because Mr. Villain movie is not.
It's not too close to the book. Okay. Grapes of Wrath is a great movie though. Portray morality, good versus evil. It's not always black and white, right? His characters are in between. They're good, but they do bad things and things like that.
So our trip has now come to an end, and I hope that you have enjoyed the video of Pacific Grove, Monterey, Canary Row, and Salinas. And I also hope that you will have a chance to visit and enjoy these places yourself. Also, if you like this video, please support me with a like and subscribe to my channel for more videos on Pacifica, Half Moon Bay, Bay Area, and beyond.